Well, that's my new opener, and I'm so happy to have that finally here on Wake Up with KC. Hope you enjoyed that. And today, I I find people very fascinating, and it's very rare that I get to come across people that I grew up watching and learning from them, and then I realized there was so much more about them, and this is like a flashback for me. And I'm very honored to introduce you somebody that is very extraordinary, even from the 80s. Please welcome Scott Valentine.
Hello
Scott,
there. Yay,
you
we made it. We're here. I love your
I
intro. I love the colors. I love the picture, the vibe. Very nice. Very, very
well,
nice.
thank you. I
Hmm.
just go with the vibe, like what I feel, and learning from my, being in a coach and being in massage therapy, I learned like what colors can do and how it affects your energy and whatnot. So I always love everything up, to bring everybody's vibrations up. So that's why I do what I do.
Very nice. Good job. Way to go. High five.
Yay! Thank you. Coming from you, I'll take that because you now I gotta ask you from because I watched you growing up, in
Uh-huh.
the 80s.
Uh-huh.
You Mallory's boyfriend Nick, family
Hmm.
ties. But then how did that all begin for you? Because you were in college, you went to college, in the arts. So was this a passion of yours that you just fell in love with and that's what you wanted to do?
A definite passion. It's funny. I'm writing a book, and I'm writing it with I don't like the term ghostwriter in this case, with a gentleman who was actually a real scribe, a real writer. And we were working on it rather fervently. And then with the death of my mother, and then the settling of her estate, and other things going on, it got me off the path of working on the book. Where we've just gotten back to the regular schedule of editing what the first draft is, and in that we've gotten to the part of, why did I go into acting? What happened? What was the compulsion? And it was and still remains a passion for me. If there wasn't the craziness of Hollywood and all the lying and cheating and game playing and silliness that goes on with it, I would still, the life of an actor it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful life, you know. It's kind of like that movie Shakespeare in Love. It's magic. It's magic. But going to college, my grades were horrible. I think the first semester I had a 1.7 GPA. Next semester I had a 1.32 GPA. I had discovered young ladies and all the wonderful and fascinating things of them, but also discovered theater. Started doing plays, and started realizing the research that I'm doing for the play, it's the same research I can use for my sociology paper or my political science paper or my history paper, whatever. And I thought, this is great. What's the only thing that could make it better? Make money doing it. So I started auditioning at different acting schools around the country, and got into the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. And just my GPA shot up to a 4.0, and then a 4.4. And it
Wow.
was truly not because it had nothing to do with the level of intelligence. It had to do with the level of passion. And I just could not get enough of it. I just had a voracious appetite to pretend in the most realistic way possible. Getting introduced to writers like Eugene O'Neill and Clifford Odets, and folks that really held a mirror up to society and said, "Here, look at us. Look at you. Look at what we do. Why do we do what we do?" Hold on, I've got to turn the fan. The air conditioning's on. It's off. It's on. It's off, and now it's on. It's a little chilly. Um, so that really rocked my world. That was so cool to be able to do art and hold up a mirror to society and say, look at us, whether it was a comedy or whether it was a drama or whatever it was. That was such a passion of mine. Graduated from the academy, started doing a lot of theater, got a movie. That movie, ran out of money. And then got run over by a truck.
A pickup truck or a tractor trailer truck?
A 10-wheeler truck, a truck with a tandem axle in the back. Pretty big truck. I think about a 16-foot box on the back. And the driver and I had gotten into an argument at a red light in Manhattan. And he then proceeded to hit me, run over me with the front tire, and drag me for a block and a half. I died. I was paralyzed from the waist down. I was told I would never walk, never have children. I was in traction for about 3 months. Got out of the hospital eventually, started rehabbing, and I was bound to determine to get back to acting. Now, mind you, when I got run over, I was literally on the way to my agent's office to sign a contract either for a soap or for a feature film. Had been offered both, and I wanted to do the feature film, being the typical actor, and my agent wanted me to do the soap because he was thinking more money, more consistency, more longevity. Do that, build your career, then you can go do the film. And there are some actors that make very nice transitions from soap operas to real film, but a lot that don't. And, looking back on it now, I'm 64, looking at it, there are guys I know that started off in the 80s doing soap operas, and they're still doing soap operas. And they've got beautiful houses in Santa Barbara or in, Westchester, New York. They got paid good money over the years, and they're happy doing that same thing over and over and over. To me, it was like eating meringue instead of eating steak and potatoes and asparagus, So that's why I wanted to do the feature film. Run over, rehab, takes 2 years. I started auditioning again in New York. Came very close to getting a part in a movie with Robbie Benson and Paul Newman. And the casting director, who's now a very pretty well-established agent in LA, and I've talked to her about this. She doesn't remember it. After auditioning 6-7 times, and then the final callback with me and one other actor to play Robbie Benson's best buddy in the movie, she turns to the producer and the director, and she goes, to me initially, she goes, "Didn't you have an accident?" I said, "What? You had an accident, didn't you?" I said, "You know what? Everybody has accidents every day. This morning, I walked into the dresser. It was an accident. There's accidents every day." No. You had like a real serious accident, didn't you? What do you mean? No, you had an accident. He's got fake parts in him. Because I had an artificial femur, artificial hip, and a portion of my pelvis put in that are artificial. And he's got fake parts. He's made with fake parts. He's like a tinker toy. He's going to fall apart on the set. I said, "No, I'm fine. I'm great." And I literally hopped up on the coffee table in the audition, and I started like, "Look at me. I could fly. I could dance. I'm good. I'm great. No problem." And they all looked at me like, "Okay, you're crazy. Thank you. It was so kind of you to come in." No, I don't know why she said this on the 7th or 8th callback. Why did she ever see me? If she knew I was in an accident, why would she? And maybe she had just learned. But I thought it was a pretty shitty thing for her to do when it was down to me and one other guy. And after that, I decided I've got to leave New York. My dream was to stay in New York, do plays, and do one film a year, which would make me enough money to pay my rent for the whole year. And the rest of the year, do plays. And I said, screw it, I've got to go out to LA where nobody knows about this. I went to LA in August of '84, right after the Olympics. Got to LA literally like the day after the Olympics ended, I believe it was, and started auditioning. The same agent who was my agent in New York, who stuck by me, the one that said, I was on the way to his office and whether we're going to do the soap or do the feature film, had opened an office in LA. And he was a very sweet guy, Michael Schlesinger. Very gay, very pretty gay. Doll, come on. Mikey, we'd be going, so Doll, how do I look? Do I look pretty? You look fine, Mikey. Are you sure? Yes, you look great. My eyes okay? Yes, you look great. And he stuck by me like blood. He was very loyal, very believed in me phenomenally. And he would get me out on auditions. Some weeks I had 20 auditions a week in LA.
Wow.
And after being there for 10 months, I got an audition on some sitcom. Family Ties. I don't know Family Ties. What's a family what? Family Ties with Michael Fox. I don't know who Michael Fox is. I don't know Family Ties. I don't watch TV. I'm a theater guy, okay? But I'll go do the audition. And I went and got it. It was supposed to be for 1 week. And at the beginning, towards the end of the first week, Gary Goldberg, who's the executive producer, came up to me and he said, look, we kind of like having you around. You seem like a good guy. Would you want to do this again? And I'm like, sure, of course. It's fun. Love to. And so I was the date that wouldn't leave. I was there for 4 years.
The date that wouldn't leave.
So to say, is it a passion? It's truly a passion. But, you look at actors who have really made it, who have had careers that have gone on for decades. You look at Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, George Clooney. It's not only what they do in front of the camera, and I don't care if you like their acting or not. I don't care if you agree with their politics or not. I don't care if you agree with their religious choices. We're talking acting, okay? We're talking pretend. We're talking who puts on clothes and pretends they're somebody else the best. This is what I did in my parents' garage when I was 5 years old. It was putting on and pretending. So who pretends the best? Now, mind you, I think award shows, I don't know if you know why they started award shows. The first award shows being the Tony Awards for theater. And it was literally for producers to make money. It was like, how can we get all these stars in the same room and not have to pay them, but make the audience pay to come see them? Let's have an award show, because they're all these actors are so neurotic and they're so needing to be stroked. We'll have an award show. And thus, I mean, look at how many award shows we have now. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
Some crappy little magazine is like, the whatever, the Flowers Are Now award show, whatever. Anyway, I don't care whichever, but all of these guys, all of these gals, a Meryl Streep, who's the woman that's married to the Coen brother? She's a phenomenal actress. What's her name?
Oh gosh, now my mind went I had a brain fog. Sorry.
You can picture her in Fargo. You can picture her in 3 Billboards and whatever it is, blah, 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 Missouri. I don't know, but you look at Emma Thompson, you look at male or female.
Julia Roberts, Sandra Bullock.
We'll figure it out later. We can post it on the end credits, okay? You look at Denzel Washington. You look at, doesn't matter, black, white, gay, straight. People that have a career that they can sustain over decades are not only good at what they're doing in front of the camera, but they know how to maneuver that world and the politics and the insane game playing and backstabbing that goes on in the movie industry, in the television industry, and the record industry. I say to people often that, the entertainment industry is a lot like high school. It's who gets to sit at the popular kid table, but it's also, are you able to maneuver those very murky waters of people backstabbing and talking shit about you behind your back? I didn't do that so well off of Family Ties. There were people that poisoned my well, to big producers or big network executives that were jealous, small people. I'm not gonna name names, but that's part of the animal. It's just like, I'm sure there are other electric vehicle makers out there that want to trash Elon Musk, that want to trash the guys that have this company Polestar, that want to trash other, electric manufacturers. I've gone into investment banking and we've done renewable energy endeavors where we uh, guys and gals who are thermodynamic engineers who are very smart, who really don't care about what sitcom or what movie or what record, but care more about molecularly restructuring molecules to make them into a kind of heat that will then spin a turbine. Even those folks, even those engineers, thermodynamic engineers, have ego and little battles over who's better, who's smarter, who's cuter, and they try to trash each other. It's human nature. Humans are we're not nice animals. We can be
No,
no.
and I don't understand why. Like, if we, like, I'm always like the team player, like, let's all work together to
Yeah.
make an impact and a difference. We don't have to compete. I think it's a program.
You know what, Kimberly, though? I've met, I don't know, 10 billionaires. Them dudes are odd cats. They be odd mother truckers. Caught myself. I caught myself. I did good. Way to go. In order to become a billionaire, you have to think only about you and only you, and how else you don't need anybody else, or how you can get out of this person what you need, take that piece, put it over here for my machine, and then get rid of that person. They're not team players. They don't care about team. All they care about is putting as many ducats in their pocket that they possibly can. Now, there's a few billionaires that maybe are cool dudes. I've never met them, that have been rather benevolent. You look at that woman who divorced, what's his name, Jeff Bezos, and his ex-wife, and how beneficent she's been with that money and tried to do good and help. Bezos isn't going to do that. Elon Musk isn't going to do that. I won't mention the other billionaires that we've worked with. They're odd cats. And they're
I'm
just
sorry. They need to get off their ego, like knock their ego right off their high horse and like, hey, come on, look at our planet, look at humanity.
Kimberly, you know what? At 64, I have my beautiful wife, Jennifer. She loves me. I love her. We love to give each other kisses. I've got 4 great sons. I've got the best sons in the world. I've got great business partners. I get to come and chat and play with people like you that are cool people. Let the other idiots do what they do. I'm not here to change the world. I want to do what I do it really well, treat everybody equitably, and if somebody wants to be a jerk or a knucklehead, whatever. But back to it being a passion and doing. Look at Unfamily Ties. I got to work with Michael Fox as one of the preeminent comedic actors of his time. Very brilliant mind. Then you look at, if you watch, my wife watches the reruns of Family Ties over and over and over. God love her. On Pluto, the OTT Pluto. OTT, which stands for over the top. Any streaming service is an OTT. Pluto, Netflix, Apple, means they're not available on cable. They're not available via broadcast. They're available, as you and I are talking to each other right here, through the internet, through Wi-Fi. Watching the old Family Ties episodes over and over, Michael Gross and Meredith Baxter Burney are just genius. Their comedic timing, their rhythm with the words, their rhythm with their look. Justine Bateman, very intelligent. Justine was only like 19, 20 when I was on that show. Very smart in her timing, comedically, impeccable. And then to have people like Tina Yothers, Mark Price, it was a great bunch of folks. And Gary Goldberg, who was the executive producer, great guy. So I was very lucky for that to be my initial foray into Hollywood. Now, in addition, as I say, the terrain is rather ripe with landmines and pits with flames coming out of them. One of the other nefarious elements is I had a business manager that stole a bunch of money from me.
Ooh.
So you go from having a lot of money that you worked your ass off for to having nothing. And it's another where you've got to see your element in everything that happens, good and bad. You've got to see what role you played in every situation. And at times it's, in a way, it's better when the team's winning, everybody's, yeah, we're great, yeah, let's go, come on, no problems, everything's good. Problems exist, you're just able to beat the other guys by maybe a point, maybe a few points, maybe a few seconds, but you're the winner. When you lose, you really start examining what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it, what you can change. And that's what you need to do. When somebody comes and they take a big old plop of manure and put it on your plate, you really need to look about, not like, oh poor me, look, I got a plop of manure. You need to look, how'd you let them in the house? How did they get past the front room? Why, what could have I done differently than allowing them to do this and put that plop? That's what you need to learn. That's the kind of resilience you have to have. That's the thing that I hope that I've really tried to instill in my sons, other than being kind, equitable, loving, empathetic people, is shit's going to happen. Everybody's going to fall off the horse. Everybody's going to have people laugh at them. Everybody's going to have people say, well, you're a jerk. And it's what you do in that situation, not reacting to their negativity. And I know you know this because you seem like a very cool, in-tuned, harmonic person. How somebody treats you and how somebody assesses you is a direct reflection of what they think of themselves.
Yep.
And how they assess themselves. If somebody calls you an a-hole, somebody says you're pathetic or whatever, they're really actually talking to themselves.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I'm very fortunate. I don't know why. Maybe it was my dad. My dad was a great guy. Great guy. Everybody I meet, I wish you could have met my dad. He's been dead 22 years now. He was a great guy. He went through a lot of shit growing up. He had a shitty father. He had a shitty mother. He was brought up by his grandmother and grandfather. His grandfather was a piece of dirt, piece of shit. And he managed to rise above and create a very wonderful life for us. My mother was my mother. My mother was abusive. She played mind games. She did psychological shit. She wasn't the healthiest of people. She loved you, but she loved you in a very guilt-laden, almost sort of just very, very not a happy person, shall I say.
And I wonder where she got that from her upbringing. And a lot of people don't realize, you do become a product of your environment. You learn at such an early age based on what you see.
Well,
And
look at our kids.
yeah,
It's never do what I say. They do as we do.
mm-hmm.
They're little sponges, and they're going to look to see how do I. And when moments of conflict or moments of strife come up, a child looks at their mother or father or both and go, well, how did mommy or daddy handle this? And if mommy and daddy aren't on the scene, how did the adult figure who's responsible for me that I look to for love and comfort and security, how do they handle this situation? And kids are lucky if they got a mom or dad that's like, oh, well, that wasn't a good thing. And it wasn't nice that guy took a big dump on us, but we're going to handle it. We're going to go get some wipes. We're going to clean ourselves off. We're going to take a shower, and we just will never be with that guy again. But there's not, I've really, the older I get, have come to believe there are two definitive types of people in the world. There's the A's and there's the B's. There's the idiots and there's the whatever, empathetic, non-blamers, non-guilters.
Compassionate.
Compassionate. and it really it's oversimplifying it, but I think it exists in every culture, in every sort of group, whether they're Middle Eastern people or they're Asian or they're European or they're North American, whether they're gay, straight, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, non-denominational, don't believe in God. There are two basic types. They're either assholes or compassionate, loving, kind people.
That's
Um,
positive and negative energy to me.
yeah, yeah. And I want to align myself with the positive,
Mm-hmm.
with the problem solvers, not the liars, not the cheats. You know, and it still goes on daily. I mean, the reason I was late coming to you today is because we're dealing with some stuff in business and got a couple of knuckleheads that made bad choices, which everybody makes a bad choice. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
screws up, but don't don't run the car into the tree and then come back. Well, Kimberly, it's your fault. The way you talked to me before I got in the car had me all confused and I couldn't focus on the road and I ran into the tree. It was your fault. You may have been 20 miles away, but it was your fault. What are you talking about? Really? So I don't want to be around those folks. It was very, visiting your home state of beautiful Florida that my wife and I were so lucky to do last week before. The people we visited were all the positive folks.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I love being around. When you're around positive people, you can feel their energy and it's uplifting. It's like you're getting recharged and you get even more creative. And that's why I keep my friends small. My inner circle is
Well,
very small.
and there are, as we know, as you have, as I have, as everybody have, there are folks that help contribute to your life, and then there are folks that are energy vampires that just
Mm-hmm.
suck it out of you. But it's amazing. Look, it wasn't easy. There were relationships that I got into that were not healthy relationships, and part of it was programming that I received as a child, going, "Oh, that must be love," because mom does that. I guess it's okay, and it's love. She says she loves me, but she's beating the shit out of me. But she says she loves me, so I guess it's okay to have somebody beat the shit out of me, whether it's mentally, emotionally, or physically. Just not good.
I think that we're here to experience life in order to understand. You have a conceptual knowing. There's a difference between conceptual knowing and experiencing knowing. Once you experience it, then you get to understand it, learn from it, gain wisdom from it. And I think most people just stay stuck in that experience that was traumatizing and it becomes so familiar to them that they think it's normal. It's like a program living in the past, emotionally, mentally,
It's
physically.
funny, as you're saying, experiential learning. The human brain's amazing. Something
Hmm.
comes up and our brain just goes, "Oh, let's find the shortest path to be able to." We were here before, and this happened, and we handled it that way. So let's play that. Let's do that track again. And a lot of times we have to work to create new neural pathways to have an experience and handle it differently and have a different result. That's why in this article I was reading about all these tragic shootings that go on in our beautiful, wonderful quilt of a country. For some reason, we allow these machines that are able to do prolific amounts of death in seconds. And I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
In this article, they were saying why experts were saying, well, people outside that didn't, that weren't there go, well, if I was there, I would have. But the human brain, and you're in a situation that somebody is just obliterating other humans with this automatic weapon. And it's like, oh my God, what do? We've never been here before. There's no frame of reference. There's no experiential reference to be able to go to say, oh, this is how we handle this. But if we grow up as a child with mommy and daddy and we see daddy beat mommy or mommy beat daddy or whatever, as a young adult, you get into it and go, oh, I've seen this before. I've seen this movie. is having a mom and dad, so I'm supposed to punch her now because she said this. And it's a lot of reteaching, reprogramming,
Mhm. And then there's movies and video games that just keep that programming going of violence, hatred, and whatnot. Would you agree?
Yes, I would, unfortunately. That's part of, look, after the shit that had hit the fan with regard after Family Ties and then things that happened, and that's why I got into producing. Part of it was too, a lot of the things I was being offered, or a lot of the things to audition for, not even offered. And I'm reading it, and I'm going, this is just mean. It's just mean. It's not funny. It isn't suspenseful. It's just plain mean. And um, I remember, we have those aha moments in our life. And I
Hmm.
remember mine was going to an audition at Paramount Studios for some movie, and I just thought the script was just dreck. It was just horrible. And the best acting I did was walking in the room and saying to the writers and the producers, "Wow, this," and I said, "You can't say this is good script." And I remember going in, "Wow, somebody, they really wrote when they wrote this. They were writing. They put words on the paper, baby. They." And I didn't want to say, "Oh, it's a good script. Yeah, I like it." You know, I needed the job. I needed to feed my kids, keep a roof over our head. But it was, yeah, yep. So we hope to not do those things now with our company. One of the things we're doing now is Red Coral Universe. We're launching an OTT. It's been a bit arduous getting the right coders to build it. And OTT stands for over the top, and Pluto's an OTT, Netflix is an OTT. So we will have, we already have it, our own app that's on Roku, that's on, Xbox, that's available through any streaming service. And
Hmm.
we'll have our own content and other content, not sort of that we acquire, but content. There's a lot of friends of ours that are movie makers, show makers, TV makers that made a great movie, that made a great show, but they don't have name talent in the system the way that it's set up. If you don't have, Mickey Mouse or Mighty Mouse or Danger Mouse in there, they don't have any interest. Because how can I sell it? There's no name here to sell. How can I? What do I, well, you can sell it by saying it's a great story, it's a great piece of material, it's going to move people. It's a little harder for you, a little bit outside your box, but you can do that. And distribution systems, broadcasters as they are now, do not want to take that chance. And the ones that do take the chance are companies with billions and billions of dollars: Netflix, Apple, Amazon, Disney. They have the ability to launch something without a name actor. In the independent film world, a lot of times you need a Mickey Mouse or a Mighty Mouse or a Danger Mouse to put on the cover of your box to say, here, buy this because we got Mickey Mouse in it, or Mighty Mouse or Danger Mouse.
Right.
Um, by being our own distributor, by having our own portal where you can go to, or anybody can go to for free and watch cool independent content. Um, that's kind of a dream of ours. It's kind of a desire. It's kind of like doing independent theater. Back in
See,
my
that's
20s.
what I did with my show. Like, I have a podcast, it's on iHeart, it's on all that, but I wanted visual because I know people like to see,
Well, see,
not just listen.
we will have a portal for podcasts. We could later when we finish this, okay?
Yeah.
We'll talk offline, all right, Saul. And there's a lot of, we have our own podcast that we've been doing out of pandemic. And I'm like, what do we do? And then my partner, Larry Maestrich, he produced, the movie Sling Blade. He produced the movie You Can Count on Me. He's very
Oh,
intelligent, very compassionate, very smart filmmaker. He's like, we ought to do a show. And then he said, in times of strife, as we, I hope, have, let's knock on wood, coming out of the pandemic here, a lot of what people turned to were artists for comfort. Um, and I know I've done that, whether it's a novelist or a playwright or a painter or a musician. We turn to art to comfort us, to give us some sort of solace and give us some vision of, oh, this is a path forward. So we have a show called Why Should We Listen to Them? And the precept of the show is we bring sculptors, painters, writers, musicians, dancers, filmmakers, actors, and tell, what is their drive, what is their compassion, what is their and as a result we started looking at other podcasts. So shows like yours we want to have a home for, where people can just go and go, you have a very particular uh, bent, a very particular angle of how you approach your show and what message you want to send to your viewers. And it'd be nice to help create a larger home for that, where people can find it easier. So we'll talk about it later, okay?
Later.
Offline.
But I
Later.
really love what you're doing, because you got into, the acting because that's your passion. Then you got into the business side of things. You gained so much wisdom and expertise to where you launched and partnered with other companies. And then, with energy and, doing what you're doing now, I'm just like so like fascinated. Like I just want to pick your brain sometimes. Like, how did
One of
you
the
do all this?
It's just, look, all business is the same. It really is. Whether you're making donuts or you're making cars or you're making movies or you're making power or you're making whatever, you've got raw material. You have a way that you have to take that raw material and process it in a very consistent, cost-effective manner, and then you need to get that end product out to buyers. So, there we go, this way. My camera's flipped, so if I go, there we go. Let's go this way. There we go. So you need to get it out to end buyers. Not so much, oh, I make money, 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 but so you can sustain your machine. Because while you're doing this, also, you're not just putting food on your own table. You're putting food on the tables of all the workers that are working with you and helping you make this. You're putting roofs over the heads of these people and their families and their kids. So it's trying to think globally, not just, ooh, me, 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 me. And when I got so disenchanted, I got very disenchanted with Hollywood in 2004. I was going through in the beginning of an acrimonious divorce, which I made mistakes. This was not like, oh, she was it. There was plenty of mistakes I made. But my last production deal at the time was at Madonna's company, and I just thought it was a bastion of ineptitude. Things were not run intelligently, and I'm like, I've got to get out of here. I can't. How can I feed my kids when I don't respect the people I'm working with, and I'm looking to them to help create a vehicle so I can feed my kids? This is not going to work. I got to go. And I hooked up with a woman who we started working opposite sides of the table and the same side of the table, and then formed a company together. A woman, Dakota Forgione, very intelligent, very bright, very entrepreneurial. And we got involved with the financial structuring for ethanol facilities and biodiesel facilities. But what really, really, really excited me was biodiesel, not that was made from virgin soybean seeds, but a process called transestification. When you take that ugly, goopy stuff after they slaughter a pig or a cow or whatever, and the stuff that's so crappy that they don't even put in dog food, which they shouldn't put in dog food, but they do. There's this other like gelatinous kind of fatty, greasy stuff that you can cook in a certain way to then make biodiesel to then run your vehicle on. And it just thrilled me that we were taking garbage and making something very useful. And not only making a useful product, but also creating jobs. And then we started looking at a process called anaerobic digestion. Very simple, been around for decades, but it's taking cow poop, dairy cows, not steers, but dairy cows, biomass, tree trimmings, grass trimmings, things like that, and MSW, municipal solid waste, mixing them together. It creates a gas. You take that gas and clean it up, and you can pipe it into people's house to cook with, or you can combust it in a turbine and make electricity with it. I thought, how cool that we're making power out of garbage, out of shit, out of literal shit. We are making power. And it's
Yeah.
funny, I got together for lunch with Gary Goldberg after we had this business going. I told him what we were doing. He started laughing. He goes, "You just can't get away from garbage, can you?" Because I don't know if you remember the character on Family Ties, Nick, made art out of garbage.
Yeah.
You know, and I did have, Kimberly, I had friends in New York prior to moving to LA that we would go around New York at night procuring garbage out of the piles that people left on the side of the road for, the garbage guys to come pick up, that they would then take home and make art out of and sell for a lot of money. So I always thought it was very cool to take something that other people perceived as waste and turn it into something good,
I find that fascinating because it's like a connection of the dot. You didn't realize,
No.
like, you were young, what you were doing, and then later it all comes like back in full circle. Like, this is why you're fascinated with garbage.
Well, this
You like
is,
to create art out of it.
and you look at, I don't know what Florida's rate is, but having lived in Los Angeles for 36 years, California has the highest rate of recovering recyclables and reusing them. It's around 63%. The next highest state, which amazed me to learn, is Arkansas, 32%. Arkansas, Republican state, not really the most liberal, hip, forward-looking place. Arkansas. And it may be because of Bentonville, because of where Walmart is. And as much as people say Walmart's a big, bad, ugly corporation, they create a lot of jobs. They make a lot of products available for people at a price that allow them to sustain their life. It's not Bonwit and Teller. It's not Lord and Taylor. It's not Bloomingdale's. But it's stuff that everyday people need. So maybe Arkansas has such a high recovery and reuse rate for recyclables, maybe is Walmart, is all I can think of, right? And then the next highest state is New Jersey. And New Jersey's at about 18%. Then every other state, it's only like about 16, 15, 11%. It's like me, and the fact that we don't reuse, recycle this stuff, it's like me taking good, clean electricity and just going and wasting it. It's like me taking gasoline that, a lot of people go, "Oh, you do renewable energy. You guys must hate fossil fuel." No, I don't hate fossil fuel. Everything you see here in this picture, everything here on my desk, everything here has been touched by fossil fuel. Everything in your room. Were it not for fossil fuel, we would not be where we are. We need to learn to use it in a more efficient and cleaner manner and procure it better. And we need to, because it's a finite resource, not because we're looking to put the oil companies out of business. It's finite. It's going to run out in a way. And another thing about, I'm a very liberal guy, but on the other part, I'm very much, we need to protect ourselves as a country. How do you bring down an army? You cut off their food supply and you cut off their energy supply. That's how you bring them to their knees, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how other countries are really, people are out there saying, "I'm a patriot and I got a flag and we're gonna storm the Capitol and we're gonna." No, if you really want to be a patriot, recycle, because that then lessens our dependence upon foreign oil, and we don't have to deal with OPEC. We don't have to deal with Russia. We don't have to deal with Venezuela. Recycle, because we can actually, from this little toothpicky thing here, right? That little doojobby, this plastic can be reused to make more fuel because it came from oil. So instead of running around thumping your chest, "Oh, I'm a man, I got a gun, I'm going to go shoot people, I'm going to bust down the Capitol." If you really want to be a patriot, recycle, learn how to reuse. Be a proponent, not of the, how many people I think are just really uneducated. The pipeline that the Obama administration had canceled, and again, coming across Canada. Oh, we need that pipe. That's dirty oil sands. It's dirty, ugly oil filled with sand that can't be turned into power that we run engines on or heat our homes with or cook with. It's going to become bunker fuel that you're going to put in ships that pollute like a son of a gun. So if you really want to be a radical, be a proponent of finishing the gas to liquid, the GTL plant in Lake Charles, Louisiana, that converts all the gas. We've got a lot of gas. Yes, a lot of it's from frack drilling, which is a very controversial method of procuring gas from the ground. But it's gas that's coming from our contiguous 48 states. It's not coming out of the ocean. Not worrying about an oil spill where it's going to spill out and ruin, crops. We don't have to cut across Native American cemeteries to put a pipe in for it. And take that gas, bring it to the gas conversion plant in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is started, stop. We're going to build it. We're not going to build it. Let's build it. And then we can tell OPEC, go fuck yourself. We can tell Putin, go fuck yourself. We can tell Venezuela, go fuck yourself. We don't need you. We don't need your oppressive, totalitarian practices. We are self-sustaining and self-subsisting. If we did those things, we'd be much more independent. We wouldn't be paying $5, $6 for a gallon of gas right now. We wouldn't.
Well, we have our own oil, I thought. So why isn't there something in dealing with the Fair Trade Act to keep, it's like, okay, we need your product and service, so we're going to trade with you with what we have to keep.
Yes.
I guess
that is an element in it as well. But also, it's not the oil so much that is in the ground or in the ocean off our shores. It's the companies that refine it and what they're charging for refining. So if we'd set a national standard, if we had, just a plant that was in a way, and I know it goes against democracy, but it was owned by the government, and it was to take this gas and convert it to liquid fuel to run our vehicles on, we wouldn't be at the whims and the mercurial nature of oil processing companies. And we wouldn't be bent over the barrel. We wouldn't be paying $5, $6 for a gallon of gas. We have more oil. We have more gas. We have 10 times more gas than Saudi Arabia has oil. And why do we keep dealing with Saudi Arabia? Well, there's the political things, and they're our safe haven to keep an eye on Iraq and Iran. I'm sort of like, put up a wall, keep them all out. Let's, yes, and not a wall to keep out brown people, which is another funny thing that folks say. Well, we got to keep the Mexicans out because they're going to take jobs. Really, what jobs are they going to take? What are they going to take? Because I know a lot of the Latino people I know, they've got some of the most difficult, shitty jobs in the world that they're out, in the fields, pulling heads of lettuce out of the ground, picking berries.
Doing the jobs that most Americans won't do.
Doing jobs that white folks won't do. That's what they're doing. So, I don't know. What do I know? I'm just an actor, right?
You're more than that. You're an amazing human being.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Cheers.
Cheers. I don't have my water.
Well, here, I got a water here for you. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
I'll share. Well, look, I've got to get back to work. This has been thoroughly enjoyable. Let's talk offline and tell you and your viewers about Red Coral Universe.
Yes. All right. Absolutely.
I would give you the URL, but we have stuff up there that's sort of like in beta phase, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I'd say let's give it 60, 70 days, and then it'll be ready for the public to see and look at and see.
So I'll put your email information if people would like more information, about it, the mission statement and whatnot.
Okay. I'll give that to you. Don't put my email up there.
Okay. Just whatever I can hey, I want to know more about this.
Yeah, we'll put up the URL for the company. Okay. I'll give you each company name because also we're involved with food. We're involved with power transmission. These are things.
Assisted living
Yes, assisted living. There we go. We're just we're just trying to be good citizens. That's all.
and help the community, help, people. That's what I really admire and so like
Hey,
happy to
look,
hear what you're doing.
one
It's
thing
very good. It's very inspirational, motivating, and it's positive. Spreading out that positivity.
I'm just very lucky to have the business partners that I have. Extremely lucky. A thing I always um, they're all smarter than I am, and I'm not saying that to sound humble. I think you should always strive to be with people that are up here, so you can learn more and get raise your raise your bar.
Right. And not only that, but they're like on the same page of your vision and whatnot, but they have more knowledge and wisdom and expertise to help guide you because they see the same thing.
Or they see more, or they've been around the block a bunch more times and they know where the cracks are on the sidewalk, and
Yeah.
they can go, look out next to that oak tree. There's a big root coming out, and you're going to trip over it. So, yeah. Kimberly, this has been a real pleasure. Real pleasure. High
It
five.
was. Thank you so
When me
much.
and when me and the missus get back down to Florida, we all got to get together and break bread and tell tall tales. Okay.
Yes, definitely for sure.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, there you go. The Extraordinary Life with Scott Valentine. Stay tuned to more with Wake Up with Casey. You'll never know who I'm going to get on this show.